We will be getting started at 1:05, but I just want to make sure that you guys, we're going to start with the bounty hunter. So make sure you join the room and then launch the attack box and also start the victim machine. And we will be starting at 1:05. But you can go ahead and launch your attack machine and your victim machine and try hack me. Any questions before we get started at 1:05?
I just joined. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Computer, hold on. I just joined. So just go to Black Girls Tag Glass, capture the flag, and get the. Okay, got it. Got it.
All right, it is 1:04. We have one more minute and we'll be getting started. Please go ahead and launch the bug bounty hacker room and try hack me, and then also launch your victim machine. So when you're set up, you should have an IP address here. Mine will be here in about a minute, and then you should have your attack machine over here on the side. All right. So I'm going to leave these instructions in the upper corner here. Actually, let me make this a little bit less big so they'll stay up there. All right, so you should have joined the room and you should have started your attack machine and your victim machine. So your victim machine is going to be shown here. Mine will be up in about 12 seconds, but in the meantime, you can get your terminal and your web browser started on your attack machine. So we are doing the Bounty Hunter room, which is a free room, and the instructions are on the blackgirlshack.org/CTF. We're doing the last two documents on that page are what we are doing today. So we have done most of the pretty easy ones on Pico Capture the Flag, so we're hopping over to Hacker 101 after we finish this. So, all right, so as usual, we're going to start off. We're going to figure out what it is they're asking for, and then we're going to run a scan. All right, so I have my IP address, and it says you are boasting on and on about your elite hacking skills, and a few bounty hunters decided to take you up on your claims. Prove your status is more than just a few glasses at the bar. I sense bell peppers and beef in your future. All right, so deploy the machine. We can knock that one off. Can you go back to the site where those? Are you talking about the let's see, this site here?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, look, So Hacker 101.
All right, you good?
All right, you can go ahead. Yeah, I'm gonna download those.
All right. Deploy the machine, find the open ports on the machine. So to find the open ports on the machine, we're going to do an nmap scan. So nmap is just a tool to do network mapping. So we're going to say nmap-a, which is the aggressive one, and we're going to put in the IP address. So my IP address is 10.10.78.19. Yours is going to be located underneath the red bar in your active machine information. So you should use your IP address, not mine. We're just going to say nmap-a and then put in the IP address. So while we are waiting for that nmap scan to complete, we are also going to go over here to the web browser and put in the IP address. So 10.10.78.19. And again, this is the IP address for your machine, not mine. All right, so your top flight hacker on deck, I see you, thank you. All right, so your scan should have completed and you should see that there are exactly 3 ports that are open. We see that there is a port 21, which is FTP server, which has anonymous login allowed. Yay, that's always good to see. 22, which is SSH, we see OpenSSH version 7.2. And the third thing that we're going to see is the web server, which is on port 80, and this is an Apache server. Okay, so that's the information that it asked us to find out. So it says, hey, find the open ports in the machine. We've done that. All right, so we're going to, because looks like the easiest thing that I see to take a look at, we're going to check out the FTP server because it has anonymous login, and that's never a good sign if you are a security defense person, and it's always a good sign if you're a hacker. So I'm going to FTP into this machine. So FTP into my machine, which is 10.10.78.19. Yours will be different. And what this is saying is I want to log in over port 21 using the FTP service. And then it wants to know what our name is. So we're logging in as the password is password. We're logging in as anonymous because it said that anonymous login is enabled. And then when we do that, we see that it lets us in. All right, so FTP servers, we're going to do the same thing that we would do in a Linux machine. We're just going to say ls, which is just going to list the things that are in the directory. And it tells us there are 2 files here. There's a logs.txt file and there's a task.txt file, okay? So we're going to get those 2 files. So you get them just by saying get logs.txt, and it's going to bring that down onto your attack machine, and we're going to say get task.txt. So you may notice that if you try to do the tab, it does not work. That's because when you're connected to another server, you're not able to tab it out. All right, so we've got those 2, but I don't remember whether or not we need to be able to access the FTP server again. So what we're going to do is just create a new tab and go look at those 2 files there, okay? So if you say ls, we're back on our attack machine. You'll see that those 2 files were downloaded into your directory. And on mine, pwd tells you what directory it is. It's print working directory. On mine, my files are stored in the root folder, okay? So we're going to view these 2 files. So it says who wrote the task list, so we'll look at that first. So we're going to say cat cat just means that you want to concatenate, just says show me the text file. And we're going to say task, and you can actually tab to just, and it'll complete the rest for you if there's no, other documents that start with task. So when we do that, we see protect vicious, plan for red eye pickup on the moon, sign Lynn. Okay, so this to me tells us that the task list was written by Lynn. So we can put that into our answer and submit. All right, and then it says, what service can you brute force with the text file found? Okay, so there's nothing in here to brute force within this task list. So let's check the locks. So we can do the same thing, say cat locks.text. And this shows us what looks to be maybe some passwords, okay? So we'll remember back from our scan that we did originally, which may or may not still be in the window, that there were 3 services open. There was the FTP service open, there was the SSH service, and then there was the web server, okay? So the only one of those that we can use to log in is going to be SSH. So when it says, what service can you brute force with the text file found? We're going to just say SSH. Any questions so far? No? All right. So what we're going to do next is we're going to try to brute force the user's password. So let me just go get my file because I don't remember the syntax for this. Oh, okay, we're going to use Hydra to do this. All right, so if you're following along in the instructions, we're on step 13. Okay, so we're going to say, you can just copy it here from the line. Oh, and so in order to be able to copy it into the terminal, what you're going to have to do is pull out the little tab here, click on the clipboard, paste it in there, copy it again, close the clipboard, and then you can be able to put things into the terminal. Okay, so what this is saying to us is we're going to log in using Hydra. Hydra is a tool that we use to do brute forcing. We're using the Hydra tool. We're logging in with the user Lynn. We're going to use the passwords that are in the locks.txt file, and then we need to put in our IP address. So the IP address for me is 1978.19. Yours is going to be whatever's on your computer. And then you can run that. And it's going to kick off, and it's going to take all of the passwords that are in the file that we provided it, and it's going to check and see if any of those passwords match up with this user Lynn, which, as you can see on my screen, it does. We found out that Lynn's password is Red Dragon for whatever that is, okay? So the next question says, what is the user's password? So we can double click this and then copy it. And again, you're not going to just be able to paste it over there. Like if you tried to just paste it over there, it would give you the last thing that you copied. So you need to put it into the clipboard, copy it there, close the clipboard, and you can paste it over here. All right, so any questions about that? No? All right, so now that we've got the user's username and password, we're going to log in. And we know that we can log in with SSH because that's the only service that we saw that was open, other than FTP. But SSH is going to get us further. So we'll say SSH, and we're going to log in as Lynn at 10.10. I think mine is 78.19, and press enter. And it says, are you sure you want to continue connecting? We're going to say yes. and then it wants Lynn's password. So you can just right click here and say paste. It still should be there from before. And then we are logged in as Lynn. So you can confirm that if you didn't see the Lynn at Bounty Hacker by saying, who am I? And it tells us that we are Lynn. All right, any questions? No? All right, so we're going to look around in here and see what's going on. So when we say LS, which because it's the list structure for Lynn, and on this Bounty Hacker machine, it tells us if there's a user.txt file. So we're going to view that. So we'll say cat user.txt. And it gives us the flag that we're looking for. Okay, so you'll notice as we do more of these that there are the flags usually have a set normally have a set pattern, and that's the point of the game, is to search for information using the skills that you're developing, using the ethical hacking process to be able to figure out what the flags are on the game. So the instructions are on blackgirlshack.org/CTF. So just start from the top of this document. But it's click on the dashboard, all rooms, and just show the free rooms, and it's called Bounty Hunter. All right, so we have the password, and we're going to copy it. And again, we need to put it into the clipboard and copy it. And then we're going to paste it into the thing here. All right, so now we need to escalate our privileges. We've gotten in, we've attacked as the user. And now we need to escalate so that we can get access to root, okay? So to do that, see where we're at. All right, so yeah, so to do that, what we're gonna do, the first thing you should probably always try when you are trying to do privilege escalation is sudo-l. Okay, and this is just something that you're gonna have to remember. So when you say sudo-l, it'll tell you either yes or no, and then you wanna put in the password for the user. So we know Lynn's password is not that. We know Lynn's password is this. So you can copy this, put it back into the clipboard, close the clipboard, and paste it in here. So when you do that, we'll see if it lets us in. And it says, it did not let us in. So if we say, who am I? It'll still say that we are Lynn. Okay, so it did not allow us to, sudo is supposed to make you root. So if it's not, if the system is configured incorrectly, sudo-l will allow you to log in as the root user. So what this does, it didn't allow us to log in as the root user, but what this does do is it tells us that bin.tar has root privileges. Okay, so when you do this, it'll also show you like any other services that have root privileges. So the way that we use this is that we're going to use bin/bin/tar to figure out a way that we can do privilege escalation. Okay, so to do that, as in your directions, we're going to go to a website, which is going to allow us to look and see the different ways that we can use the sudo.bin. I'm sorry, bin.tar with privileges. Okay, so when we log on here, this tells us all of the different services. So we are specifically looking for tar. So just scroll down. Actually, it might be easier just to say tar. And it'll take you. So we see for tar, we can do a shell, we can do a file upload, we can do a file download, file read and write, sudo, and we can do a limited SUID. So what we're going to do is we're going to use sudo because that's going to get us to where we want the quickest. Okay. So you're going to click on sudo, and that'll take you to the use of how you can use sudo tar. You can run the tar utility as an admin, as a root user, to be able to escalate your privileges. Okay, so we're going to copy this. Did somebody have a question? No? Okay. So we're going to copy this. And again, you need to put it into your clipboard and then collapse the clipboard, and then you can put it on here. Okay, so what this is going to do is this is going to allow us to be able to use the root privileges that the tar utility has to be able to execute sudo. Okay, so this specifically tells us we're going to use the tar and we're going to execute bin.sh. Okay, so when you press enter on that, it takes you to the hash sign. And if you are new to Linux machines, hash sign means that you have root. So we can confirm that to say, who am I? And it tells us that we are logged in as root. Okay, so it could have given us any number of utilities that have root privileges. And then based on this GTF bins, we could use any number of those to be able to figure out how to do sudo. As you can see, most of these allow you to be able to do sudo, if these are available in the machine. Okay, so now we're in here logged in as root. Our goal is to get to the root.txt. So we're going to say ls and see if it's in this thing. Okay, so when we say ls, it says that the user.txt file is in this directory. We don't want the user.txt. We actually want the root.txt. Okay, so we can look for this a couple of ways. The easiest way is just to say locate root.txt. Okay, so in this case, we know what the what we're looking for, so we can actually just say locate it. Okay, so when we say locate it, it's going to search the file system, and it's going to come back with anywhere it sees a file that's root.txt. So it tells us that there is in the root directory a file called root.txt. Okay, so what we can do is we can say cat. And then we're going to we can either switch change directories and go to the root folder, or we can just display it from the root folder. So we're going to say cat root / root.txt, and that's going to show us the contents of that file, and we see our last flag. So we can again copy this, put it into the clipboard. Nope. Put it into the clipboard, copy it again, collapse it, and then you should be able to paste it over here. And then once you complete the room, it gives you lots of confetti and wonderfulness, which you could then share, on your social media if you wanted to. All right, so any questions about that process? And you'll see that once you start doing a lot of these, that the process is exactly the same. You're going to go and you're going to look for vulnerabilities. You're going to see if you can find anything, see what services that are on there. After you do your scanning, see if you can exploit those vulnerabilities, get user access, escalate that privilege, try to get root, get whatever the flags are, and then you're done. Okay, so another rabbit hole that we could have done is to take a look at the web server. So I'm just going to show you the general approach for looking at the web server. So we see here that there's a picture in the web server. Let's see what else is in here. And there's a story. Okay, so we don't necessarily need to care about the story unless there's a password involved in here. But what we can do when we see a web server is we want to view the source. Okay, so this is my general approach. Anytime I see a web server that I'm trying to, on a machine that I'm trying to hack into, I want to see if they were caught slipping and, left some username and passwords in the source of the file. Okay, so when we take a look at that, if it ever comes up, what I typically do is I'll do a search for either PASS, like I'm looking for a password, or I'll do user, looking for a username to see if it's in there. I'll also just look and see if anything is out of, like is a different color or it just appears out of sorts, right? So we can go in here and we can say username and see if there's anything in here. It didn't find it. See if we can just say password. It did not find it. And then you could check and see if there's anything in the tag. So they don't have any, secret hidden messages in here. So this would have been a dead end for us, but that's the generalized approach. The other thing that you can do is you can take a look in the developer tools. So you can say web developer, and say inspector. And using that, you could take a look at, for example, the cookies that are on the page. You could take a look at the console. You can take a look at the different layers or frames to see if there's any information hidden in here. And my general approach for this is literally to come in here and do a search. So if they tell you how the flag is formatted, I'll do a search for THM in the Try Hack Me box to see if there's any flags in there. If it's like, for example, like a cyber skyline, like for the National Cyber League, I'd do like a SKY to see if there's anything in there. And I would literally just look in all of the different tabs to see if there's any information in here. Okay. So it gives you information in each one of these sections related to, whatever the tab says. So I would take a look at all of those. And then you could, in the network, you could take a look at the different types of files. You can also, in the debugger or the console, take a look at the different types of files. To see if you can find information in there. All right, so any questions about the approach for these types of rooms? And Try Hack Me has a lot of free rooms that they allow you to do. You get an hour to use their attack machine, and then it goes away. If you don't complete the room within that hour, then you are going to have to do it within your own Kali machine. If you don't have your own VM set up, just because you haven't gotten around to it yet, we have a home lab set up. I think it's maybe the second week of March, for you to walk you through the steps to do that. All right, so we're going to do one last thing, and then we will be done for today. So we're going to go to the Hacker 101. So we were doing, before I do that, any questions so far? All right, so the other write-up is is also on the website. We're going to do the Hacker 101. We were doing Pico Capture the Flag before, but we had done all of the relatively easy ones. I try to make these exercises so that they last less than 5 minutes, because I feel like at least for me, my attention span will leave after that. All right. So once you log in and get started, you can come here and we're going to start with the very first one, which is trivial. And it says that there's one flag in here. So it says a little something to get you started. It tells you it's a web skill, which means you're just going to need your browser and your mouse. Okay, so then we can say go, and then it'll launch the level for you. All right, so we see in here, welcome to level 0, enjoy your stay. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to see if you can figure out this level. So it is 1:32. At 1:35, I'll start talking and tell you what to do. Like I said before, the general approach is to right-click and view source and see if there's anything interesting there, and see what kind of information that they're releasing to you.
When we're done, do we post the answer in the chat?
No, you can just say that you're done. in the chat.
Okay.
So once you guys get used to doing these, next week we'll start doing these for winners. But I just want you to get used to this new platform so you can understand like how it is that they expect you to take a look at things. But we normally play games, and whoever gets the answer first wins swag. Do you just say done? Oh, how do you submit it? Good question. All right, so if you go back to the top of the Hacker 101, you'll see here to say submit flag, and then it'll credit you with the level that you submitted the flag for. All right, we got a little bit less than a minute, and then I will talk to you about my approach for this. All right, it is 1:35, so I will talk to you about my approach. Okay, so the first thing I always do when I get into a web server that we're supposed to be analyzing or attacking, I'm going to say view page source. So what are we seeing here? There's no hidden text message, there's no hidden anything, but it does tell us that this background, which appears to be white, is actually a picture. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take the background.png, and we're just going to paste it here so we can see what the picture is. And you'll see that there is a flag hidden here, as well as all of this white. So what we see in the picture is all the white, and what you don't see is the flag. But then you can take the flag and put it over here into your submit flag. And then it registers that you have submitted the flag for level 0 or level 1. And then that is done. So the folks that were able to complete this, did you do this a different way? Crystal or Litany? Oh, okay. So seems everybody did it the same way as me. All right. So we are going to do one more, and then I'm going to let you explore. So we're going to kick off the second level. So it tells us that there are, this is level 2, and that there are, it looks like maybe, or maybe it's saying that there's 2 flags in here. Okay. So we can say go and kick off this level. You can close the other level, and it sets up the level for you. All right, so what we see here is a pretty simple web page. The first thing we're going to do, as always, is to view the page source, see if there's anything in here. So we see that there are two pages. There's page 1 and page 2, and then there's a create page, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do, just because I am curious, is I'm going to say page/1 and see what that shows. And then it says, hey, edit this page. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to say page.2 and see what's in there. And it tells us that there's an adorable kitten, it looks like, and a button maybe. And then the other thing is page.create or page/create. So we'll go in here to see if there's anything interesting in here. And it says that there is markup allowed. Markup is supported, but scripts are not allowed. Okay. So there's nothing really interesting in there. Okay. What is interesting, however, is that when we click on this, it says page.1. So what I would be interested in is, for example, is there a page.3? Okay. So it says this is not found. So that led us nowhere. We want to go back and see if there's a scheme. So we're going to create a new page. And I'm just going to call my page test. And then I'm just going to say test. Okay. So when we do that, we create it and then it puts it up and it says that this is actually page 6. Okay. So when we did this one, this was page 1, and you can mouse over and see it at the bottom of the screen if you didn't remember. So this is page 1, this is page 2, and then this is page 6. Okay. So that tells me that there are maybe some hidden pages here. So we're going to say page, we already tried 3. So we'll say page 4. It says you don't have the privileges. So we try page 5. It says nope. And then page 6. And I'm going to just try a couple other ones just to see if any of those work. And they do not. Okay, so since we found nothing in here, what we can do is then go in here and say edit this page. And it says, hey, we see the same structure, but this time it says edit for the pages. So we can edit page 1 and we see that this is that message. If we edit page 2, we see the message about the cat or the kittens. If we edit page 3, we'll see nothing there. If we edit 4, we see a secret flag. So we can copy that and put this over here into the submit flag. But then we want to keep looking because there are still 2 more pages. Let's see if there's anything else in here. So edit 5, there's nothing in there. 6, I think we already looked at. And then we'll just do 7 just for kicks. Okay, so that's it. All right, so the next thing that I would try is to see if this is susceptible to any of like the common websites, web attacks, okay? So the first thing that I would try is to see that if it was, for example, susceptible to like some cross-site scripting, okay? So you can click on this and then we're gonna go in here and we're gonna just say, put in a tick, okay? So, or a single quote, whatever you call it, right? And see if that gets us anything. So it says no. And then let's edit the page and see if putting in cross-site scripting gives us anything for this. And it gives us another flag. So we can copy this and see if this is different from the flag that we've already submitted. All right, so that gave us another flag and we see that there's 2 more flags left, okay? So cross-site scripting is just one of the ways that we would try to do it. There are in the OWASP top 10, maybe 9 other attacks that you could try to do on this, okay? So what I want you guys to do between now and next week is to take a look at these last 2 and see if you can try those types of attacks. And see if you're able to get in. So you can get hints, and the hints actually only give you information based on the flags that you have found, because you're not high enough in a level, but you can see the general approach for those, the hints that were available. Once you get to higher levels, once you get to 26 points, then you get invitations, and then as you get more points, you start to get hints. that you can use if you need them. So any questions for me? No? All right, so if you are new, this is generally the approach that we do. We'll usually do some, sample questions for capture the flag. So in this case, all of these are web attacks. And then we'll usually do a room in Try Hack Me, just so you can get used to, the way the different platforms approach these types of games. But generally, like if you're doing a capture the flag event, you'll do, like, for example, maybe they'll give you 4 hours or they'll give you a couple days, and you have to go and do, a search and try to find all of the flags. And it'll be just as cryptic as this, where it'll tell you like, hey, this is a content management system, and there's some flags in here, but this is supposed to be easy. So you'll see that as you go to look for the other 2 flags in this area, that, it'll be just simple things that you can do within the like different types of web attacks, right? Because all of this is like, you shouldn't need to use any burp, you shouldn't need to use any of that, right? You just need to go take a look at what the top 10 OAuths are and then try to use those. So we did cross-site injection. So you can try to use something like maybe a SQL injection, or you can try to use some of the other no, we did the injection, but you can try to do, for example, like cross-site scripting, or you can try to use some of the other ones as well. All right, so any questions? All right, if not, I will catch you all in the Slack. Our last CEH is on Monday. And then next week, I think we have, after that is just the Friday Night Labs. All right, well, I hope everyone has a good day, and I'll catch you in the Slack.
Bye.
I got a question
Bye.
before you go. Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I came in a little late. Sorry about that. Where did you start in Try Hack Me? I think I started at the very beginning.
Yeah, so if you go to, let me see. Here we go. If you go to Try Hack Me and you come over here to the dashboard, you start here, okay? So what you do is you say learn all rooms. And then in this case, the one I told you, the one we were looking for is specifically called Bounty Hunter. So you can just start typing bounty here and click on it and then join it.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, yeah, I did the wrong. I started at the very, very beginning. Like,
yeah.
So all that, I was like, okay, this is the wrong spot. All right, thank you.
All right, and then like I said, if you're ever like not sure, like you come in late, I always put the write-ups for whatever it is that we're doing for Capture the Flag on the website. So it's blackgirlshack.org/CTF, and then the password is just the word password. And then you can come down here and see what the documents are for that day. So if you are just joining us for the first time this week, you can check out some of the past rooms that we've done in Capture the Flag practice, and you take a look at, for example, Pico Capture the Flag if you haven't done it. But all of the write-ups are on here, once you log in. So you can take a look at those rooms. And if you have any questions, you could just drop them to me in the Slack channel. And there's also, like, within Slack a lab help, so you can ask questions in there as well.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome. Any other questions? Right now, fix your mouse. All right, guys, I will talk to you soon. Take care.